Hi, welcome to Pine Hollow's 10-minute field trips. My name is Anita Sanchez, and we're going to be taking some field trips to some places you might not expect. So come on and explore. So today we're going to take a field trip to a lawn. Now, you know I really like dandelions. I'm not kidding when I say they're one of my favorite flowers, but I'm not the only one that likes dandelions. Dandelions are the favorite food of a lot of creatures, including honeybees. You can see where the saying, "as busy as a bee," comes from. This bee is certainly working hard. This actually isn't a bee. Although it looks like it, it's stripy like a bee, but it's a wasp. And wasps like dandelions just as much as bees do. They like to drink the sweet nectar. Here's a honeybee working on a dandelion. There's all different kinds of bees. Honeybees are the ones we get our honey from, but all sorts of bees and other insects just love dandelions. Look at the bee's back legs. Can you see like yellow bags attached to her back legs? Those are pollen sacs, and she's collecting pollen from the dandelions. So what are bees looking for when they go to flowers? Well, they're looking for two things: nectar and pollen. Nectar is the sweet juice that the flower makes. It's found way down in the bottom of the flower here, so the bee has to really dig in there and get in there to suck out the sweet nectar. And the bees also eat pollen, which is almost like a yellow dust that's found on the tips of the flowers. Now, the bee often goes from one flower to another flower, and as it does that, it carries some of the pollen with it from one flower to another, and that helps the flower make seeds. Here's a bee's eye view of a flower. And there's a tiny bee hiding in the depths of the dandelion. And there's another pollinator. The pollen is on the tips of those Y-shaped structures, and the nectar is down in those hollow tubes of the flowers. So let's look at some books to figure out more about what the insects are doing with those flowers. There's so many different species of insects in the world. In fact, there's many different kinds of bees. There's many species of bumblebees. Those are those big, fuzzy ones. They love to drink nectar from dandelions. When we think of bees, though, we usually think of these guys, honeybees. We've seen honeybees on flowers. They drink the nectar and they gather up the pollen, those little yellow specks, and carry them in pollen sacs on the backs of their legs. And they bring the nectar and the pollen back to the hive. The bees eat some of it, and they store some of it. They feed some of it to their babies. And some of it they turn into this stuff. Sweet, sticky honey that people like to eat, but the bees love to eat it too. This is the winter food that the bees save up all summer so they'll have food for the winter time. So the next time you're having breakfast and you put some honey in your toast or maybe in your tea, think about how what you're eating came from a honeybee that gathered sweet flower nectar, brought it to the hive, and turned it into honey. Thanks for listening. See you next time.